What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Smell Good, Feel Good. I'm Cody. This is Stud Muffins. And today I'm going to be talking about my favorite fragrances with a note of tobacco for my collection. So stand fast. Alrighty guys, so I really wanted to make this a top 10 video, but I couldn't narrow it down really to 10 fragrances. So I have 12 fragrances here, and I do kind of have them in order from least favorite to most favorite, but let's go ahead and get started. So in the number 12 spot of one of my favorite tobacco scents in my collection is Aramis Tobacco Reserve. And I don't know if I'm saying that right, Aramis, I don't know. But this is something that I got recently that I found at TJ Maxx that I actually heard some good things about from people like Max Forte. And I'll tell you what, whenever I first sprayed this, I did not like it at all. It comes off very herbally, somewhat medicinal, and I was kind of disappointed. But as it dries down, that kind of nice, dry, green tobacco scent really starts to come through, and that herbally note, kind of from what I think might be like sage or something like that, starts to go away. There is oak moss in this, and I do get a little weary with fragrances that have oak moss in it because I feel like that can give it kind of a dated smell. But even though this is an old school scent, I feel like once it gets that dry down, you could still pull this off. The other great thing about this fragrance is, one, it's super cheap, and two, it has pretty good performance. So it's not a projection beast or anything like that, but as far as longevity goes, I do get pretty good longevity with this fragrance. So if you're looking for kind of an old school, classic, dry tobacco leaf type fragrance with a little bit of sweetness from some tonka bean, then go ahead and try out Tobacco Reserve by Aramis, or however you say it. Okay, now for my number 11 spot, we have another old school scent, and you probably recognize this bottle, but it is Versace Dreamer. Now, Versace Dreamer was released back in 1996, and this, like I said, is another kind of classy, old school type scent. You get that tobacco in it. It's not like super strong with the tobacco. It's definitely very different than the Tobacco Reserve that was in the number 12 spot. But you get the tobacco with this nice, smooth, kind of relaxing lavender scent, as well as some sweetness from tonka bean. But you also get a little bit of citrus from mandarin as well. And then again, you get some oak moss in this, which is kind of why I get that. I think the lavender and oak moss gives it kind of an old school type scent, but I really like this fragrance. I think it's a nice nighttime fragrance, and that lavender is very relaxing to me. So if you're looking for a old school, relaxing nighttime tobacco fragrance, then Versace Dreamer is one you might want to try. And you can also get it pretty cheap, and I get pretty good performance on my skin with this one as well. And it actually projects quite a bit on me. So if your skin chemistry is like me, go easy on the trigger with this one. Alright, for my number 10 spot is, again, somewhat of an old school kind of fragrance. And even though it's not super old, it was made back in 2006. But in my number 10 spot is John Varvatos Vintage. Now, to me, John Varvatos Vintage is kind of an odd fragrance to try to put into words about how it smells. But to me, it just smells very, very masculine. It's a woody, spicy, yet somehow still kind of comes off fresh too, in a sense. But definitely, in my opinion, not something you'd wear in the warm weather. So definitely cooler weather fragrance. But you do get some tobacco in there with like a smooth, leathery suede scent. And I get a lot of juniper berry in this as well as quite a bit of pepper. But there's a lot of things in this, and it's very well blended. So in my opinion, besides those notes, it's very hard for me to pick out any single note. But yeah, I definitely get a lot of that juniper berry, which kind of, to me, is what gives it that old school type scent. But you know, it is called John Varvatos Vintage, so I think that's what they are going for. Now, John Varvatos fragrances are pretty much known to have really great scents, but have really poor performance. But on my skin, this one performs really well, and I actually have to go very easy on the trigger with this one because it will give me a headache if I do too much. So again, if your skin chemistry is like mine, be very careful on the trigger with this one. You can get this very cheap from discount websites or from places like TJ Maxx or Marshall's, which Marshall's is where I got this from. So keep an eye out for this one, guys. John Varvatos Vintage. Alright guys, and my number 9 spot is a fragrance that is a bit of a shocker, and that is CK1 Shock. Now, based off this bottle design, you would not think a tobacco fragrance. To me, it would be like some kind of bright, citrusy, zingy, zesty type fragrance, but maybe that's why they call it Shock, because when you smell it, it's shockingly a very nice, fresh, kind of like a fresh tobacco scent. A nice green, fresh tobacco scent. In my opinion, this is one of the better fragrances from the Calvin Klein fragrance house. And I think this is also a very good tobacco scent for a younger person or somebody who's wanting to dip their toes into fragrances that have the note of tobacco. It's not too harsh, it's not too rich, it's not too old school or niche type smelling. It's just a very nice, smooth, bright tobacco scent that you can get really cheap from discount websites or discount stores. I got this really cheap from my local Marshalls. It's always there, so keep your eye out for it. But yeah, if you're a younger person that's wanting to step up your game and try something slightly more mature but not crazy mature and dip your toes in tobacco, then try CK1 Shock for him. Alright, my number 8 spot is everyone's favorite Christmas smelling fragrance, and that is Burberry London. Now, like I said, this, in my opinion, is like everybody's favorite Christmas scent, because if Christmas had a smell, this is it right here. This is a tobacco, cinnamony type scent, and it's woody, and it's just kind of hard to put into words, but honestly, when you smell this, it smells like, I don't know, like a Christmas tree, or just like what a living room on Christmas Day would smell like. The only downside of this fragrance is it has pretty weak performance. The good thing is it's pretty cheap. You can just keep reapplying it if you wanted to. Yeah, this is a great Christmas Day type fragrance, and yeah, Christmas in a bottle. Alright, my number 7 spot is a fragrance from a new fragrance house called Happyland Studios, and this is Happyland Signature. Now, Happyland Signature is it's almost like a gourmand tobacco scent. It's got nice, rich honey, it's slightly musky, you get that tobacco, and it's supposed to have blueberry note to it. I don't get a lot of blueberry from it when I first spray it, but as it dries down on my skin, then the blueberry starts to come out. So it is kind of like a sweet, honey, resinous, spicy tobacco type scent. It's just like a gourmand tobacco scent, and I get really good performance out of this. I get good longevity, good projection. It's very sweet and very heavy, so be careful with how much you apply, because you can choke people out around you. But yeah, if you guys haven't already heard of Happyland, go ahead and check them out. They have some other really nice fragrances out there as well. But as far as tobacco goes, I really like this one, so check it out, Happyland Signature. Alright, and my number 6 spot is a fragrance from a clone house, except this fragrance is an original creation of theirs, so it's not a clone of anything. And this is Alexandria Fragrances Hafez 1984. Now, this is a powerhouse fragrance, very strong, like one spray or even half a spray will do you for the whole day. But this is just a nice, spicy tobacco scent. It's rich. You get some booziness from it as well. And vanilla. So you get the vanilla, you get the tobacco, the booziness from like bourbon, or actually I think it's more like rum, and some spiciness from it as well. But yeah, this is just a very powerful, rich fragrance. I have heard it being compared to, I believe it's Mancera's red tobacco, though I've never smelled that, and this wasn't meant to be a clone of that fragrance, so I don't know how close it is to that, but I've heard it compared to that. If you've smelled red tobacco, then maybe you kind of know what this would possibly smell like. But yeah, my number 6 spot is Alexandria Fragrances Hafez 1984. Alright, my number 7 spot is actually another Alexandria Fragrances, but it's a clone of another fragrance. Just dropped my bottle, luckily I have carpet. So you could possibly put the original fragrance in this spot, but I'll tell you why I have Alexandria's in this spot instead. So in my number 5 spot is Alexandria Fragrances Sweet Smoke. Now this is a kind of one of their sample sizes. I need to get a full size of this because I really love this scent. And this is a clone of, I believe, Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille. Now, I almost bought Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille. When I smelled it on a scent strip, I just loved the way it smelled. Just, to me, I pretty much got tobacco and vanilla, and it was just smooth and sweet, and I really liked it. The only problem was, and I was so close to just buying it, but I was like, you know what, let me test it on my skin, because I know things can change on the skin. I tried it on my skin, and I hated it. The funny thing is, my fiance hated the way it smelled on paper, but on my skin, she loved the way it smelled on my skin. But to me, on my skin, it was just sickeningly sweet. It really just smelled like pure raw honey on my skin. It was so weird. It didn't smell anything like it did on the scent strip. So that's just go to show you guys, before you pull the trigger, you really should try it out on your skin. I know most of us probably don't do that. I know I don't, but I'm really happy that I did try it on my skin first before I spent the kind of money that Tom Ford's private blend costs. But anyways, I ended up getting a sample of Sweet Smoke from Alexandria Fragrances, and I really like it. It smells on my skin kind of what Tobacco Vanille smelled like on paper. So I really like the smell of this, and even more so, I like the dry down. My fiance, she really likes the dry down on this. On my skin, for whatever reason, on the dry down, it kind of smells like a chai latte or a chai tea or something like that. I don't know. I don't really drink those things. It's just my fiance, she drinks those, and she said, yeah, it kind of smells like a chai tea. And yeah, it's just nice and smooth. It's a nice tobacco and vanilla, and there's some other things in there too. But yeah, I just really like the smell of this. And, you know, if you like the Tom Ford version, get that one. Otherwise, I highly recommend this one. Alright guys, my number 4 spot is a very popular fragrance, and that is 1 Million Privé by Paco Rabanne. Now, this doesn't necessarily have a very strong tobacco note in there, but it is in there to me. This smells, you can get the 1 million DNA in this. I do, on my skin, get that 1 million DNA, but then you just get this added cinnamon, slight tobacco type scent to it, maybe some tonka as well. But yeah, it's basically taking the classic 1 million DNA and then maturing it up and making it something that works really well in the fall and winter. So yeah, it's just a tone, they tone down that bubblegumminess from that 1 million, and then just kind of add some nice smooth spices to this one. And it's a little bit sweet, like I said, from that tonka or vanilla that's in there. But yes, this is a very good scent by Paco Rabanne, 1 Million Privé. My number 3 spot is the fragrance that the day that I smelled it and bought it, my fiance referred to it as Lumber Sexy. and that is Victor and Rolf Spice Bomb Extreme. Now this is Spice Bomb. If you smelled Spice Bomb, this is Spice Bomb, but it's amped up with tobacco. The tobacco note's more amped up. You get more vanilla and pepper in this, and it's just a richer, spicier version of the original Spice Bomb. Get pretty decent performance out of this as well. But yeah, this is a very crowd-pleasing tobacco scent. This is like the big brother of Spice Bomb, the original Spice Bomb. So if you haven't smelled it, definitely check it out. Great for fall and winter. My number 2 spot is probably one of my, not my most complimented fragrance, but one of my most complimented fragrances, and that is Thierry Muglier's Pure Havane. I love this scent, and I know a lot of people are probably tired of this scent, but I just love it. It's just a nice cigar, cherry, tobacco type scent, along with some booziness in there and honey. It also gets gets smoothed out a little bit with vanilla. But yeah, there's not cherry in this, but it's not a massive cherry type tobacco scent, but you get this cherry pipe or cigar type tobacco scent along with a little bit of booziness, that honey and vanilla. It's just very good. And on a side note, or an honorable mention, would be Insurrection Wild. And you can get that for like, I don't know, 20 bucks, and that smells nearly identical to this. So I actually use Insurrection Wild quite often in place of my Pure Havane in order to, you know, not use up any of this. So my number 2 spot, definitely a nice fragrance to check out, is Thierry Muglier's Pure Havane. Alright guys, and my number 1 spot is usually on almost everybody's top 10 list for winter fragrances or tobacco fragrances, usually pretty high up on there. It is very popular, and it's actually, I believe, my only niche fragrance that I own, but that fragrance is Parfums de Marly Herod. Now, Parfums de Marly Herod is a very nice vanilla, tobacco, cinnamon type scent that's got a little bit of smokiness to it from incense, and it's just very, very well done, very well blended. Performs quite decently too. For me, it's not, I can't tell if I go nose blind to it, because it's pretty powerful, because I feel like oftentimes I can't smell it and I think it's gone, but then other people will tell me that I smell really good. So I think I just go nose blind to it. I have heard people say that it's been reformulated, and I don't know if I probably got reformulated version or not. But I would say, based off of how long after applying it I get compliments, that this does still have really good performance. The only downside to it is it's very pricey. But yeah, I'm very happy to have this in my collection. It's probably, I mean, it's in my number 1 spot, so it's my favorite tobacco scent. But I use it very sparingly because it's very expensive and I don't want to have to get another bottle. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Please comment down below and tell me what some of your favorite tobacco fragrances are, because tobacco is one of my favorite fragrance notes, and I would like to expand my collection on tobacco fragrances. So like I said, please comment down below, tell me what some of your favorite tobacco fragrances are, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you, bye-bye.